So I think we could all agree that FUZE is underpowered even after they buffed him a little bit with adding him another cluster, so he's up to 4 from 3. And I still think we could all agree that he is very situational and very mediocre at best. He's great for getting out gadgets and stuff, but he is mediocre and he is not a viable operator in most situations. And that kind of comes to show with the gameplay that I got. I tried my best to get as much FUZE gameplay as I can. I played it for a few matches straight, recorded it all, and just could not manage to get in a situation where FUZE was perfect. So most of the time here, I couldn't even use really the clusters. I would have to use it on a window or something. And the problem with FUZE is that exactly, he's only really good whenever there's vertical play. So that led me to make a post on my community page, and it said, how would you buff/change FUZE to make him a viable operator? I had a few ideas there before that, but I think that by making this post, I was able to get a lot of different viewpoints. So I'm going to include the ones that I think aren't ridiculous. So I'm just going to read off of those, say my opinion on them, which ones are going to work, because these are all potential reworks of FUZE, and I could see any of these really happening. So I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people said the easy way out, and that's just make him a 2-speed, maybe less chunky of gadget deployment, stuff like that. And I saw that probably in a lot of things. Some people said he doesn't need a buff. That's just wrong. But 2-speed is by far the #1 thing that I read. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is the easy way out. It's not a bad way, but I think he needs more than that. Going to a 2-speed, his gadget still sucks, and he becomes this operator with a really good gun and a very, very situational gadget. And that kind of reminds me of a lot of an operator like Twitch, who has the F2. Great gun, but has really a very situational gadget that isn't used very much. Now don't get me wrong, I think he should be a 2-speed and they should probably just remove the shield from him, but I don't think that is going to solve everything. By doing the 2-speed and also removing those Russian ACOGs and stuff like that and make a real ACOG just like how Ace does, that would be perfect. But still, we need a gadget rework. That could be a little minor buff that they could do literally tomorrow if they wanted to. But now let's hop into bigger buffs that I think actually need to be done to make FUZE a very viable operator in the future. So the first suggestion, which is one that I actually suggested a few months ago, I made a FUZE video and here we are again coming right back at it. But this one is by Lot, I think is how you pronounce that. Sorry if I botched your name, but it says make it so that his cluster charge is throwable, also giving it a cooking mechanic like Ying's Candela's. So that would be easier to deploy instantly if you hold it long enough. It says in Ying's bio that FUZE showed interest in the cooking mechanic of the Candela, so lore wise it makes perfect sense. So this one does make a lot of sense, and this was probably one of the more suggested ones. Make it a throwable, make it cluster out a bunch of grenades kind of like Ying does. Now the reason I chose Inkalot's actual comment is because I did not know Ying's bio said that. That actually would make a ton of sense if that was a rework in the future and they kind of just pre-planned it because they knew that FUZE is weak. So making it so it's more of like a Candela makes a lot of sense. The throwable aspect, it would still be the same from verticality, but I don't see a way that this could become overpowered. So this with a 2-speed and remove the trashy Russian ACOGs, that right there might actually do it for FUZE, and it would not make him overpowered because the ADSs can still destroy it like they do now, but it would be just one, so it wouldn't burn a whole entire ADS if you threw it directly at the ADS. It would blow up the entire FUZE and it wouldn't be able to do a 5-shot grenade type thing. So there were a lot of comments about reinforced walls, but I really like the one by Overin here. And he said, make it so that his cluster charges can drill through reinforced walls and kind of make the explosions be a magnet towards certain gadgets. This would give him a purpose, which gets rid of utility, but to balance him, bring the cluster charge count back down to 3. And when it goes through a reinforcement, make the animation long and loud to give the enemies kind of time to run away and such. So this one would make sense for the developers if they don't want FUZE to be really annoying and get you killed a lot. This would be great because first of all, it goes through reinforced walls. Everyone is asking for that for some reason. And second is it's not going to be just some surprise. You could blow up everyone in the room. It's just going to make you relocate and it's going to destroy utility and gadgets, which obviously is a problem right now. We're in a really gadget based state of siege and a lot of the meta goes through gadgets. So this could be a great operator to actually kind of rework and to get rid of utility with the magnetization type thing. And I don't think magnetization is even needed. I just think if it could go go through reinforced walls, it's going to get more gadgets. Now it has to have limitations though. It would have to be able to be bandit tricked or electroclawed, but that keeps him balanced. He won't be too overpowered, but he'll have an actual purpose, and it would be completely just to destroy any utility. So those first two are really reasonable, and I think those could actually become a real thing. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those came into actual fruition. But now for some other ones that I saw a lot of likes on, and this one is Danny. I'd like him to be able to place multiple charges without having to detonate them. Instead of deploying one and having to blow it up, deploy 3 and decide when to blow them. So this one, just like only boosting him up to 2 speed, is another really small thing that they really wouldn't have to change much in the code, and it would probably be an easy fix for Ubisoft, but I don't think it is the best option. I think the 2 before that are definitely better options, but this is interesting. It just would require a keybind to actually detonate, so I don't know how that would work. That's my only concern with this one, is I don't know how it would work, because you put your 1 down and then you usually hit the same button to actually detonate it. So I don't know what you would do if you wanted to get 3 down and then detonate it, because I just don't know how that would work. But this is definitely not enough in my opinion. I think they need to do something bigger, make it a throwable, make it go through reinforced walls, stuff like that. Stuff like this, just making it a 2 speed, making it so you can put them all down at the same time, however else you could think about it. It's just not going to be enough. The problem is in the gadget. It's not in how the gadget is placed. It's because it's so situational. It's either vertical or you have to shove your whole head on a window, which is obviously very dangerous. So I got one more that I kind of like, and then I kind of want to go into which ones will actually come into fruition and which ones I would personally go with if I was Rainbow Six, to make a most balanced one and not the most fun, because as we know, balance is more important than the most fun. This one out of all of these is probably the most out there, and this guy said, I would like to see FUZE be able to use his gadget under sights in addition to a round on top. The reason FUZE struggles has less to do with his gadget and more sights of every map. That's kind of the main gist of it. I'm not going to read that whole thing, but basically what he's saying is he would like to be able to throw it like on the roof and it would do its thing like how it usually does. Out of all of them, I think that this one could go wrong the most if it became super overpowered, because if you throw it on the floor and it just starts clustering upwards, the kill potential is so high, and I think that's the biggest deal with this, is the kill potential can't be too high, and it needs to be more for gadgets in my opinion. So if we think about stuff that can destroy utility and gadgets, we really just think about Thatcher, and Thatcher needs a partner and his ban rate needs to go down. So if FUZE comes in, they'll both be good at one thing, which is gadget destruction. The thing with ban rates is they only happen if they're too useful or too annoying, and I think if FUZE just gets so many kills with his clusters, first of all, he's going to get nerfed so fast, and secondly, it fixes nothing if he just gets a bunch of kills, and we more so need gadget destruction because there are so many gadgets on this game, and Thatcher is really the only guy that can take out most of them. So if FUZE gets this rework buff, whatever you want to call it, I think it could just be really a buff, is to go through reinforced walls, bring him back down to 3 clusters because that is more reasonable, and lower the damage so it doesn't get so many kills, and more so is there for gadget destruction and utility. You got to think in terms of just Siege as a state in general, is offense and defense, attacking defense, right? Stuff like that. Defense has such a big advantage. And if you brought someone like FUZE and you had Thatcher, they can't ban them both. So you could potentially clear off any ADSs, burn all the ADSs with the FUZE, as well as getting any bandits, Cades off of any reinforced walls if the site allows for it. Don't let it actually go if there is a bandited wall, but instead only let it go if it does not have any battery pack or electric claw on it. So that would be my suggestion. I don't think the speed really matters. I would probably keep him at a 1 speed at that, just so he doesn't become too overpowered, but give him good scopes. That's the first thing. Make it be able to go through reinforced walls, have 3 of them, and make it more so for gadgets and not for kills. It can still get kills, it can still do 20 damage, whatever, stuff like that, but it shouldn't just be for kills. Now let me know which one you guys like the most. Comment which one you like the most. I'm interested to see if anyone has any more suggestions. I know this is probably as much as I could think of for sure. I thought of a few of these, but some of these were very, very detailed, and I like that. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you want to see another kind of operator that needs reworked, like Glass or something. I could do that as well, but I will see you in the next one. Peace out.